Hi everyone! Thanks again for tuning in to another Tay Township Public Library craft. If you've already picked up your activity kit, we've got all of these items in the bag for you. So we've got 4 different colors of paint. You should have a cream or ivory color, which is this one here, some white, black, and orange. So we're going to make a harvest wine bottle or a scarecrow wine bottle. And again, if you have materials at home you'd like to add to it, you're more than welcome to get creative and add to make your bottle a little bit different or unique the way you like it. So the very first thing you're going to do is we've provided you with a clean wine bottle, but if there's any goo on it left, you can wash it again. And then we're going to do a coat of the ivory or cream colored paint all over the entire thing. So that's the first thing you're going to do, and go pretty heavy with it. It doesn't have to be perfect because it's a rustic harvest scarecrow. And it doesn't have to go all the way to the top because you're going to be covering that with the burlap. So just go ahead and do a nice thick coat and then give it some dry time. So I'm going to go ahead and finish painting this bottle, and then when it's dry, we'll start the next part. Okay, so my bottle has now dried. I did one coat, and you can see I left it as one coat, a little bit of streaks, because it gives more texture to the scarecrow. If you wanted it to be more solid, by all means, you can do another coat and let it dry again. This was about 45 minutes to an hour of dry time. So the next part we're going to do is put on his hat so that we know where to do the face. So grab your burlap and we're going to layer them on top of the bottle and pull them up a bit to make his hat. Put one that way, and you should have 3 pieces. And one more piece on top. And then once we have them elastic down, you can trim them to the way you want them to look. So we've provided an elastic, that makes it a little bit easier. And that'll get covered up by a bow or flowers in a few minutes. So there we go, we got Scarecrow Hat. Where's that 4th piece? And adjust it a little bit. I can curl that under. That looks pretty good. I might trim some of this one. Might want to use sharp scissors. So use your scissors and just trim away the extra pieces that you don't like. So there we go. So I'm going to use this part as his face. So now we need to do his face, and it's kind of like a jack-o'-lantern. So you got 2 triangles for the eyes and 1 for the nose and then a squiggly mouth. So I'm going to use a pencil first to draw out the way I want it, and then I'm going to paint it. So I have a little bit of wet paint there still. So 2 triangles for the eyes, and just go really lightly because it will take the paint off the glass with the pencil, but if you don't like the way it looks, you can just paint over it and start again. So you can see I've got 3 triangles there, and then you kind of add a little line at the bottom of the 2 triangles, and now I drag a little line inside the triangles to the outsides because the inside is going to be black and then the outside there is going to be a white line, and then these are like eyelashes. And then little semicircles above the eyes make eyebrows. And then the mouth is kind of like a squiggly smile, rough, and with 2 smile lines for the cheeks. And then you just draw some lines through it, through the nose, like that, for like stitch marks. All right, so now we can go ahead and paint. We'll start with the orange for the nose. Open all these up. So we'll paint a rough triangle with the nose. Now remember, he is a rough harvest scarecrow, so it does not have to be perfect. There's his nose, and that's all the orange we need, so you can go ahead and wash your brush. So now we're going to dip it into the white. I cleaned my brush, and that white is going to go on those outside lines of the triangles that we drew. Now these brushes are pretty big, so it's a little easier just to dab it on. And then you can always clean up your lines afterwards with a Sharpie, just to neaten it up. That's a easy craft hack. So there's my white lines. And now we're going to go into the black. Okay, now let's do the rest of our scarecrow face with the black. Now, if you find your brush is too big, if you don't think you can do that, then use a Sharpie or a permanent marker. So get some black on there. I'm going to dab it on my craft paper to kind of clean up the edge of the brush a little bit. And then we're going to paint in, let's do the eyebrows first. I actually like the way this brush looks because it kind of gives bushy eyebrows there. And the white is still a little wet, so I'm going to go down and do the smile. And just carefully start with the cheeks. And just go over where you did those pencil lines. All right, now we can go back up to the top and do the white of the black of the eye. So it's the other half of the triangle. So you can see there. So I think I will, when this is dry, and I'll show you that after we glue the flowers, I'm going to take a Sharpie to do the details around the eyes and the nose. There you can see my little scarecrow face. All right, so now we need to use some hot glue and cover up the elastic with our piece of jute. So we're going to do that by wrapping it around maybe a few times. Now you guys can see. That's better. My bow ended up upside down the first time. There you go. Is that over his head? Perfect. And you can add a little dab of hot glue to keep that in place. There we go. Glue those strings down where you want them. All right, next is the leaves and the flowers. So we've given you 3 flowers and 2 leaves each. And they're connected, which is handy, so you can go and stick those. I think I'll stick mine off the side here. So I'm going to add a dab of glue on there. Now, if you guys don't have a glue gun, they actually sell them at the dollar stores, which is handy, and the glue. But that's the best thing to use for this project. I don't think any other glue, unless you used like an epoxy, would hold it. I'm going to add some glue down here to make the leaf stick. All right, and then I've got my 3 flowers. Whoops, picking up those burlap pieces. So I added in a dab of hot glue. Sorry, I went off camera. And I'm going to stick it beside my bow. I think I'm going to still trim this one side of the burlap. There we go. That's better. And I've got a nice yellow flower here. Stick a bunch of hot glue on there. I'm going to stick it up on the top up here. And then we can tuck it that. Okay. So we've got those 2 flowers on. Let's just stick the 3rd one. Let's see. Got hiding my bow over there. I'll stick the 3rd one down here. So go and stick another dollop. If you curl the glue, it doesn't get as stringy. So I'm going to stick this one down here. Okay. How are we looking? It looks pretty good. Now I did grab a permanent marker, and we're going to just add in some lines around his eyes just to clean it up a little bit. So you can see I just outlined the top of his eyes. And then we're going to add around his nose. You can outline it. Oh, make sure your paint's dry. So you can see I added in some stitch marks, and you can do the same thing. Oops, I took the paint off the glass there. Add in some lines like that. Now the last thing this guy needs is just the dots of the whites of his eyes. So you can use the back side of your paintbrush, dip back into the white, and don't make them cross-eyed, but stick a white dot in the middle of that black triangle. There we go. There you have your Harvest Scarecrow wine bottle. Super cute. All right, remember to share your photos with library@tay.ca because we love seeing how your guys' crafts come out. So they always come out looking different, and you add extra things at home. So there you have it. All right, bye guys. Thanks for joining me.